We're on Daf Chaf something or other. Chaf Beis Umralf, I believe. Yes. We're up to the fourth line down. Me'ata Mishanigalu. If you're going to say that it's a very interesting Gemara. It parallels some of the discussion about in a couple places, but it has its own unique points. Look, if you're going to say that Am Yisrael needs a special pasuk to say that when they went into Golus, they're chayiv in mitzvahs, right? Because it says Vavatem Meheram Yala Adomot, and then nevertheless V'samtem Estavarei Ela Alavavchem Al Nafshechem. Despite the fact that you're lost, you still have to keep mitzvahs of tefillin and Torah and mistam the rest of and as a result the rest of mitzvahs as well. So maybe when they come back to Eretz Yisrael, they're parted from mitzvahs. In other words, maybe they're chayiv the first time, and when they go into Golus, they're chayiv still. But when they come back to Eretz Yisrael, time of Ezra Nehemiah, who says they're chayiv again? Maybe at that point they're in the part of mitzvahs. Maybe mitzvahs are like a temporary thing. It's a fascinating question, right? So me'ata mishanigalu yufturim, they should be exempt from mitzvahs. Ksiv, yet it says vayasu. It says vayasu kol kol hashavim. So it says all the congregation which came back from the Golus at the time of Ezra Nehemiah, they did. It's the Karmei brings down the entire puzzle. They made a yontif of Sukkos, and this Sukkos had not been seen from Admi Me Yoshua, from the days of Admi. Ad is not actually a word in the pasuk, but it's me. The pasuk goes on until it says that they didn't make such a Sukkos from the time of Yoshua ben Nun. But Lama Yoshua, why are we mentioning from the time of Yoshua? So Hillel Breder Rav Shmuel Rav Nachman Amar. It's a fascinating principle. Pagam akosu kavat tzadik perkever. What's the word? We detract from the honor of a tzaddik who's already dead in order mivnei kavat tzadik b'shaito, in order to give honor to the tzaddik who's alive. In other words, we kind of kick Yoshua down a little bit since he's dead and we don't have to worry about him in order to build Ezra and Nehemiah up. That's really what we're doing here. How so?
So you have to do one.
What?
You could elevate Ezra and Nehemiah without having to denigrate Yeshua. You don't need to push somebody down in order to elevate someone else.
I don't know how to answer that. I understand what you're saying. I don't know how to answer that. But obviously the pasuk was trying to say that I don't know why that's had to say this, but they were saying that Yoshua is written without a hay here. It's written without a hay. It's hard to say that Yoshua's sukkahs was lacking in comparison to Ezra's sukkahs. I want to say that this sukkah was the greatest sukkah ever in history. So now, besides that, we say Darshani, what's more critical for our discussion here, Higush biyasim b'yimei Ezra biyasim b'yimei Yoshua. It's a parallel drawn between their return in the days of Ezra to their entry in Eretz Yisrael in the days of Yoshua. Ma biyasim b'yimei Yoshua, Peturim ha'yuvin yischayvu. Just like the days of Yeshua when they came to Eretz Yisrael, they were exempt and then became liable in mitzvahs when they entered Eretz Yisrael. Now, true that it's true to have mitzvahs hatluyas baretz, but we extrapolate from that to all mitzvahs as well. The mitzvahs, they were exempt from the mitzvahs which are hatluyas baretz, which are contingent on the land. Before they entered Eretz Yisrael, when they entered Eretz Yisrael, they became chayev, and he's chayevu. So too, when they came back to the days of Ezra, they were exempt, and he's chayev, and they became responsible. Okay, that's nice, but what indicates that they became chayiv? That tells us historically that they became chayiv. But what pasuk directs them to take the shiur upon themselves? So they're chayiv, and again, we're focusing really on the mitzvahs hatluyas baretz now, not so much on the mitzvahs which are more general, but the mitzvahs hatluyas baretz. How do we know that they're liable for the mitzvahs of hatluyas baretz when they re-entered Eretz Yisrael? So it says the Gemara, is that which it says? I skip. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina Omar, B'dvar Torah Yischav the liable from Divrei Torah. Though it seems like that which it says. Rabbi Yachol Shem Lekecha HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring you El Oretz Asher Yoshua Abosecha V'Rishta. Kadosh Baruch Hu will bring you into the land which your forefathers inherited, and you will inherit, or actually means conquer. You will conquer, and it says there, "V'heitivcha v'hir b'cha me'avosecha." He will make you good and better and greater than your forefathers. Where is this pasuk in the liturgy? Oh, you guys. Where is this pasuk in the liturgy?
Obviously, this must be very obvious. That's what we're missing.
No, it's a bizayon for you, for all you guys. What?
It is a bizayon.
It's only bizayon now. I don't know if it's bizayon for you. It's a bizayon for these two. I don't know if it's such a bizayon for you. I'm not sure what your sentiments are. It's bizayon for the religious Zionists.
Really?
It's in Avinu Shel Shamayim. It's in the Tefillah Shlomo Medina. Okay, that's where it is, and the prayer for the welfare state. That's what I said. I don't know. I've never gotten religious Zionist sentiments exactly said straight, but I know these two. I know these two guys. So in any event, so that's brought down. And you'll see now why it's brought down. In fact, from this Gemara, not yet. At the bottom of the Yom, you'll see why whoever designed the tefillah. I think Rabbi Herzog designed that tefillah, but whoever designed the tefillah actually put it in because this Yerushalmi, it seems. So in any event, it draws a parallel here between your conquest and your forefathers' conquest. My Yerusha Sabasech Torah, just like your forefathers when they conquered Eretz Yisrael, days of Yehoshua, it was a Doraisa. After Yerushcha, so to your conquest, Midvar Torah is Doraisa as well. Besides that, He made you better and enhanced you over your forefathers. Your forefathers, well, actually, it's Veitivcha V'Yirbecha. It should say Avosecha. It should say really again. Avosecha P'turim Mayu. Your forefathers were examined Nischayvu. Va'atem, you guys are going to throw in the Korban. A throws the word Nischayavtim. We're Chaim Days of Yeshua. He throws in that word. U'P'turim Mayu. And then you became part of him, and Nischayavtim, and you became Chayiv a third time, Chayiv a second time. That's a bigger chiddush because I might think once you lose the first chiyuv, that's it. Furthermore, the other chiddush. Your forefathers, they didn't have a yoke of kingship of others upon them. But him and you, even though the Persians are kings over you, you get the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael back when Ezra and Nehemiah come. Also, they only became liable in Trumas Mitzvahs Adluis Baritz after 14 years. Sheva Shekimshu, the 7 years that they conquered, V'Sheva Shechilku, and the 7 years they distributed Eretz Yisrael. Avlatem, but you, Rishon, as they moved back into Eretz Yisrael time as in Nehemiah, each parcel of land which they acquired, Rishon Koned, they acquired it, Mischayv, and that parcel they became liable to Trumas Umaisers, and according to this according to this opinion, Doraisa. All right, Blazer said, he argues, he says, Me'alei kibalei misamaisus, and they came back there to Israel a second time, they accepted Maisus on their own, and the Maisus, in fact, are only the Rabbana. And since the time of Bayusheni, all Maisus is the Rabbana, because most of the Jews did not come back, and it has to do with Rov Yishvel Leh, Kol Yishvel Leh, so most of the Jews not come back. In fact, I think recently, statistically now, there are, or shortly, there will be more Jews in Eretz Yisrael. 2010, more Jews in Eretz Yisrael than a chutzpah in America, but still not, I think, all of the diaspora. So, but theoretically, it just be Rov or Kol Yoshvei Leh. There's a tzitz Eliezer in which he tied is only from, so based on, I think, Rabbeinu Gershom, it's only 600,000, that's all it's necessary. But anyway, most poskim hold that in order for Jews and ISIS to be the rice, they need Rov Yoshvei Leh. Most Jews should be living in Eretz Yisrael. But so that they didn't. So that's what Rabbi Eliezer says, that all my Trumas and Ma'aser B'Zman is the Rabbanan. My time when what pasuk teaches this, it says in the pasuk in Nehemiah B'Chozos, nevertheless anachnu kortz ma'amona, we're making a covenant v'chotzmim and we are signing. Okay. So what does it mean? And this was about the Korban, the third white line brings down that to do with Challah and Truma. that they were accepting it despite the fact that they were not liable, right? Because it says we're accepting, right? It says in Achdu Kors Mamona. Says Ma'amakayim Rabbi says more okay, but that's nice. But if that's true, Ma'amakayim Rabbi let's do it. The subsequent post says that they're Makabel also that's Bechoros Bekorenu B'Tzonenu to give the firstborn of their cattle and their sheep to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the Raisa for sure. Bechoros of Behemos is for sure the Raisa, regardless. It doesn't have to do with their acceptance. It has nothing to do with most people living in Eretz Yisrael. So it's even Chayv and Chutz La'aretz, but that Bechor belongs to a Kohen. So says the Moreh, Mikeva Shekiblu Aleim, Dvarim Shelo Yechayev Aleim, since they accepted by themselves things that they were not liable to, meaning the Yechayev of Trumas U'Maisros. I feel Dvarim Shehein Chayovin Al Chayovin, things they are liable to, such as Bechoros, Ma'aleim HaKosuv, the pasuk Aleim Makom, the pasuk tribes and Kilum Aleim Kiblu, that they accepted it on their own. So it's interesting discussion Hamud Yerushalmi here in the bottom, which is really not relevant to us, but it is interesting that he brings down that it says there that they also accepted Shabbos, right? So what part of Shabbos did they accept? That they're mechuyev, not mechuyev in Daraisa. So he brings down that some Achronim said that they accepted Mekach u'Memker on Shabbos, not to do business on Shabbos. But then he brings down that they're, because that's only the Rabbanan. But then he brings down Ramban, I think it is, holds that even though Kinyonim are allowed to make on Shabbos D'Oraisa, and Rabbanan ban them, but actual commerce on Shabbos is also D'Oraisa. So it's not relevant to our discussion really, but it is an interesting discussion which he has, where the commerce itself to keep your store open on Shabbos is considered to be D'Oraisa. And in fact, he brings down, I think from the Ramban and others, that that's really the true definition of Mechal Shabbos for Hesia. Even though there's no actual stoning malacha which can be attributed to buying and selling, but to desecrate Shabbos publicly by keeping your store open and doing commerce thereby, that's the true concept of Mechal Shabbos for Hesia. Yerushalmi brings that. Not on this page, it goes on for a few pages. He brings down
Not quite doing business on Shabbos, but the Shabbos Jews of Malach of the Holil,
yeah.
What's his name? Frank, whatever it was, the Rav of
No, Hildesheimer. I mean, not Hildesheimer. Dutch Hoffman. Yeah.
So he possibly that kids should go to the gymnasium on Shabbos, go to school.
Yeah.
It's not.
They can go, he said, to school?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I guess because it's not real commerce. He said, he doesn't bring down to about Mechal Shabbos for Hesia, at least not that I can see. But he brings down from the Ramban, it's on Chav Kimhom with base, he brings it down at the bottom. Avlios koyom chanus osm yater v'over a mitzvah seder tishbos. That's what he brings down. Anyway, maybe I made it up with Chal Shabbos for Hesia, but I think I saw that somewhere once. Be that as it may, L'maisa says the Gemara, Ma'amakayim Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanino, Choses Nachdu Korsi Mamon of a Chesman. This Chanino says, Trumas Maisis D'Oraisa. So what does he do with this business about the pact, with the covenant they accept upon themselves? What are they accepting? So it says, he responds, he came to Kibbutz and say upon the office, they were nice about it. They didn't grumble, more Trumas Maisis, more money God wants us to give to the Kohanim and Levim. So it says in Makabel, say upon the office, they accepted with a good spirit. The pasuk attributes them as if they accepted it on their own as a maestros. Ma'amakayim Rabbi Lezer Ma'abu Secha. Rabbi Lezer says that they Trumas Ma'aser to Rabbana time second base in English. What does it do with this? What's that referring to? So pasuk b'shem Rabbi Yochanan, so explains Rabbi Yochanan that's going on the ultimate redemption. Avusecha Yarshu Eretz Shiva Amim. Your forefathers inherited or conquered the land of 7 nations. Vatem, and you are seeding the Rosh Eretz Eser Amim. You're going to have 10 nations. Tlas Archanise, 3 other ones. Eleninu, which are they? They're Esakeni, Esaknizi, Veskadmoni, which are Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shama, Shachaya, Namtaya, Rabbi Shimon, Asya, Vastataya, Vadar Mesek, Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer, Asya, Vakartinga, the Turkey, right? Rabbi Omer, Edom, Umar, Varashis, Bnei Amo, right? Anyway, whatever 3 lands they are, there's some of these 3 lands. Obviously, and Turkey is Turkey, right? And Damascus is Damascus. I don't know. So they are, and us obviously, so they're identifiable, but they're all lands in the environs of Eretz Yisrael. Me'avusecha, and it's better than your forefathers. Avusecha, Avapi, Shenigalu, even though they were redeemed, Chazim Shtavdu, eventually went back again to Golos after Churban Bayesheni. Avulatem, but you lost your lavo. Mishatem Nigalim, once you're redeemed in the eventual future, Od Einatem Mishtavdi, you will not be enslaved anymore. My time, what pasuk teaches this, another pasuk concerning the ultimate gula, Shal Noah Uru, ask and see, Yulad Zochar, if a male ever gave birth. Geshem Shein Zachiole, just like a male never gives birth, Kach Mishatem Nigalim, so to the Geula, the ultimate Geula is Mishatem Nigalim Einatem Mishtavdim, you will not be able to be subjugated again. Now, obviously, it won't be a flawed Geula, and therefore you won't be subjugated again. Chutz Minay Orla Mina Kilaim. This is going back to our Mishnah. It said, it's a quote from our Mishnah, that all mitzvahs which have to do with the land only apply in Eretz Yisrael, except for Orla, first 3 years, Kilaim, mixtures, Rabbi Lezer, Alpha Chodesh as well as also applied to Chutz La'aretz. My time, Rabbi Lezer, what's larger, Rabbi Lezer, the Chol Moshe Vosechem, because it says in all your settlements, and the Chol Moshe Vosechem we learn to mean Bein Boretz, Bein B'chutz La'aretz. It applies. What? You did? Okay, you're going to go learn with David anyway, or? Yes. My time, Chol Moshe Vosechem, Bein Boretz, Chutz La'aretz. My Mekayim Rabbana B'chol Moshe Vosechem. What do Rabbana do with B'chol Moshe Vosechem? B'chodesh shebo yatsa, b'chodesh shebo, sorry, I didn't make that clear. Rabbi Lezer says B'chol Moshe Vosechem means all your settlements, Bein Boretz, Bein B'chutz La'aretz. Okay, wherever Jews settle, they're chayiv in Chodesh. Rabbana say Chodesh only applies to Eretz Yisrael. What does it do with B'chol Moshe Vosechem? Means B'chodesh shebo. If you took Chodesh, new grain, Sheyatza Chutz La'aretz to Chutz La'aretz, then even though you took it out of Eretz Yisrael, the Isser still pertains to the grain. Okay, the Isser attaches to the grain, it applies even when it goes to Chutz La'aretz. That's how they learn B'chol Moshe Vosechem, but not grain which grew in Chutz La'aretz. Rabbi Yonah asks for Lama. Lo tina avachal, why didn't mention also challah? The challah applies to Eretz Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz. Or Rabbi Yossi said, Lo tina el dvarim shnogim b'Yisrael v'nogim b'goyim. We only mention things which apply to Am Yisrael and to Goyim, both in Eretz Yisrael. Kilayim, and Chutz La'aretz, sorry. Kilayim, Orla, that applies, and Chodesh, if you Chodesh applies to Chutz La'aretz, applies even to land grown by, to produce grown by non-Jews, right? The challah is not mentioned because challah noegas b'Yisrael. Challah only applies to Jews. Ve'ena noegas b'goyim and not to goyim. My time, or what indicates that to us? Reshis hariso seichem, the beginning of your cradles of dough, your batters of dough. The lo shall goyim, not the batters of non-Jews. Okay. Halachates, gadita. Kolos and mitzvah achas, anybody does one mitzvah, mitivin lo, they do good to him, marichin es yomav, and they lengthen his days, v'nochel es aretz, and he gets inheritance in land. Chol she'en osem mitzvah achas, anybody who doesn't do one mitzvah, ein mitivin lo, we do not do good to him, ve'marichin es yomav, and we do not give him length of days. Veino good he doesn't inherit the land. Anybody who doesn't learn Tanakh, nor Mishnayos, nor is involved in business, right, in the settling the land, he's not civilized, right? People learn Torah all day, barbarians. Okay? Anybody who has Mikra, Mishnah, and Derech Eretz, so then Akasav Omer, Pasuk says, Vachutam Shulash, if somebody has a 3-stranded rope, Lobim Heina take, it will not speedily re-rent us under. Okay? Of course, Rabbi Hirsch would say Torah Derech Eretz doesn't necessarily mean Malacha here, but obviously other things. Wait a minute, it says more. It sounds like you got to dafka do mitzvahs. We know as the Gemara Mishnah and Makos which says that a yeshiv lo avra avera, even if you just sat and didn't do an avera, no so schar kois a mitzvah. You don't have to do mitzvahs, you just have to avoid averas, right? It's just sit and be good. It doesn't say you. What?
Just think good thoughts.
Think good thoughts, right. So you say in our Mishnah it's only if you do mitzvahs? It says, so the Gemara tries to give an answer, the Gemara's going to shoot it down. The Gemara says, we're talking about a guy like this, but mechutza. He's a 50-50 guy. He has exactly 50% mitzvahs and 50% averos. Also, mitzvah achas, if he does one mitzvah, in that situation, metivin lo, they do good for him. If they extend his days, and he inherits the land. And also, if he's in a 50-50 balanced situation, if he transgresses one avera, metivin lo, we do not do good for him, and we do not extend his days, and he does not inherit the land. That's more, still no good. I don't like it. Over there. We'll just repeat the question again. I believe there's some problem with the Girsa, but anyway, the question still is valid. Over there, anybody sits and doesn't transgress an avera, and there's no schar kois mitzvah, he has schar like he did a mitzvah. So why I say here he has to do a mitzvah, even if it just refrains from the averas? That'll tip his balance in favor of being, worthy. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Zira says, you know what, there's a catch to it. That which Gemara Makos says, anybody who refrains from doing avera, it's as if he did a mitzvah. That Rabbi Zira mishabas liyodos safek asum avera. It's got to be he had temptation and he didn't do it. If you're just sitting without temptation, not committing avera, that's no trick. It has to be you were tempted to the avera, and nevertheless you didn't succumb to the avera. So then, at that point, that would be like a mitzvah. But our Mishnah is talking about where you don't have any temptations, then you don't get any reward for refraining from the avera. Your reward only comes from pursuing an actual mitzvah. Okay? Says Mara, Rabbi Yossi Rebun. Rabbi Yossi Rebun said, Misha yiche lo mitzvah v'lo avar lehem miyomav. Somebody who designated for himself a specific mitzvah and did not transgress his entire day, the entire life. That's what it means, kol osa mitzvah achas. In our Mishnah means he chose himself a mitzvah which would be his special mitzvah. Now, this special mitzvah, there are a couple of ways of learning this. One is to learn that the special mitzvah is a specific mitzvah, the one immediately mentioned. Ma'isloch, what is that mitzvah? Rabbi Barukvan, Kigon Kibbut Ve'im. Kibbut Ve'im is one of the special mitzvahs of Torah because it's mitzvahs that are Odom Ocha Peruseim B'Olam Hazeh Ken Keim Solam Haba. So it's to enjoy the fruits of in this world and the capital sustained, principle sustained through the world to come. So therefore he's saying that Kibbut Ve'im is that unique mitzvah. But I saw today other people saying, the means seem partial this way, that it means Kibbut Ve'im is an example of that, but every person should pick a specific mitzvah, which is their mitzvah. But every person is, even though everybody has to do all mitzvahs, but there's an Indian that people should have specific mitzvahs which are my thing. So that's what it's saying here. If you pick a mitzvah that's your thing, and that's the mitzvah you do consistently throughout your life, then B'tivin lo marichin shtoisav, etc., etc. Rabbi Yimona said, Ashrei Tmimei derech. It says, praiseworthy are those who are whole of path, who go in the ways of in the law of God. It says Gemara, interpretation, keholchim b'toras Hashem. when they go in the ways of God. Meaning that the praiseworthiness is that when you're on the road and tempted, then you still follow the Torah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rabbi Avon said about a different pasuk there. Aflo Paul they also have not worked evil. Bidrachav halachu, they walked in his pathways. So also kibid rachav halachu, when they were walking in Hashem's in the pathway, so they didn't do anything negative. That's what is praiseworthy. Now, in other words, you have to have an isayon in order to actually enjoy the fruits of not having committed an avera. Rabbi Yisrael said, "My see what's that which it says? Asher yishushalach batas shoyim." Praises the individual didn't go into the council of Rishoyim, became shloach batas shoyim. If you don't follow the council of Rishoyim, kemi shloach batas tzadikim, as if you follow the council of tzadikim. So this is obviously a very nice post because it's pretty lenient. It says as long as you don't follow the Rishoyim's advice, we give you credit as if you were followed the tzadikim advice, even though you might not have. But since you follow the Rishoyim's advice, that in of itself is a mila. Darish Rabbi Ben Azai, Ben Azai Darshan. Zvuve Moves, flies of death. Yavish will turn rancid. Yabia, also language somehow of causing rancidity or repulsion. Shem Rokeach, fine pharmaceutical oils. So it says, what do we learn from this? Iluzvuve Echad, Shemes, a one dead fly. Shema Eno Mavish Shem Rokeach, does it not turn rancid and make repulsive a precious wine? Bezeh, so it's an individual. They chait echod shechata. Even if one avera you commit, which is a very big bummer, right? It says it's possible to have one chait which you commit, and through this ibei kos kriyashviyada you lose all the merits that you have in your hand. Now, Moshe says about a case where you were half on half, and you committed that one avera which drove you over. So then you lose everything. It seems very difficult. Yerushalmi in general, it gets even more difficult later on. But Yerushalmi holds, if you're 50-50 and then you do one mitzvah 51-49, you're a tzaddik. And if you do one avera and then you're 51-49 the other way, you're a rasha. Not that every mitzvah avera is taken into account, but it's all one big balance. Now there are indications in the Bavli like that as well. But the Yerushalmi is much more blatant about that. Right? No, it's a Rosh Hashanah, but it's difficult because really we're not talking about Rosh Hashanah. Nevertheless, it says that we balance the scales. We should, not balance the scales. We should take everything individually. But that's how the Gemara goes on. It says the Gemara, Rekiva expounded. The grave expanded itself. Upara appear and opened its mouth without any limits. It doesn't say without any limits. Without any limit. Means somebody who doesn't have any chok, he never filled any mitzvah in his life. A person who has one mitzvah, the Rambam says mitzvah has to be done lishma. But if a person has one mitzvah, he can get out of Gehenim. He can get out of Gershol here means Gehenim. But if he has no mitzvahs, then he's stuck, he has to go down to Gehenim. Now we have a special limit chus here. Says the Gemara, oh, you know what? I made a mistake again. Sorry, it's Yerushalmi, I forgot. That one mitzvah has to balance him. Let's say about guys 50-50 and the mitzvah pushes him over. Even a featherweight mitzvah can do that. Let's talk about guys 50-50, not a guy who's 99-1. Now the more starts with that. Says the Gemara, that's in the world to come. You need to have a positive balance. But in this world, even 999 malachim out of 1,000. They say bad things about a guy. One malach says good things about him. That's part of Hashem's meat of erech hapayim. That Hashem's patient. He says maybe they'll do tshuva. So therefore, even if you have one part out of 1,000 of schus, that's enough to keep you going. Maybe you'll do tshuva. Umatam, what's pasuk teaches this? Says Yesh Olav Malach Melitz Echad Mini Elef. If he has 1,000 malachim saying good about him, Lagi Lodam Yosha, to say that he's a honest person, Yechonano, and he's going to be find grace. But Yomer, and it will say, Hashem will say, I guess, Peda'em he read as Shachas, redeem him from his going down to the Gehenna. Matzatzi Kofer, I found a ransom to give, to take, which is this fellow's life. Rabbi Yochanan said, Im Shamata Dover mi Rabbi Elazar b'Noshe Rabbi Yosef Gli. If you hear a matter from the Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yosef Gli, hat on the kav azulcha, make a hole in your ear, kafrachas, like an ear trumpet. In other words, listen very carefully. Kafrachas azu, make your ear means make your ear like an ear trumpet. V'shma, and listen. Dam Rabbi Yochanan said, Rabbi Elazar b'Noshe Rabbi Yosef Gli Omer, Afilu chamels v'tisha malachim l'amdil of chova. He said 999 against are saying bad. Umalach echad, and one malach malamed olav schus says good. Akash baruch makriel chabsus. Akash baruch puts him in the good column. Below soft over, not just when kol osam malach, when that entire malach is saying good things about him. I feel even the malach which has good things to say about him, he himself, the malach, is chamel satisha medisha starting miosam malach malim love chova. 9,500 parts of that malach are saying rotten things about this guy. But side echon, on 1 out of 100 side, miosam malach malim love schutz is saying good things about him. Hakadosh baruch hu marchil kapsus, Hakadosh baruch hu inclines him in this world to the scales of merit. Matam, what teaches in the pasuk that it's 1 out of 1,000 thousands, because it says in Yesh Olam Mal Echad Mini. I'm sorry. In Yesh Olam Mal Echad Me Elef, without a nun enksiv, it doesn't say Me Elef. Ela Echad Mini Elef with a nun and a yud. 1 out of 1,000 with mini, which is more more, I guess, distance, or mean the LF of, I'm not sure exactly what dash it, but we dash it like this. Ma'al chechon mi'elef enksi, doesn't say 1 out of 1,000, el echon mini elef. 1 out of 1,000, and then the extra letters, again, it could have said me'elef and says mini, means me'elef l'tzdadim shaloso malach. It's 1,000 out of 1,000 because 1,000 sides, 999 sides of that malach himself are against this individual. Says the Gemara, Maxi, but what does it say afterwards? V'yichonanu, Hashem will have mercy upon him. V'yomer, and it say, P'ta'eu mired shachas, redeem him from going down into the grave, or into the Gehenna. Matzatzi kofer, I found a ransom. What is the ransom? So the Darsha word P'ta'eu. The word P'ta'eu, type of Chav Gimel Av, means not just to redeem, but also means to afflict. So P'ta'eu b'yisurin, what gets him out of his troubles, the other afflictions he's going to get. Motzasi kofer, I found the ransom. Motza kofer latzmo, he found a ransom for himself by doing mitzvahs. I said it's only in this world. But for Olam Haba, it's amazing Gemara. I don't know what to do with it even. Rubo's chuyos, if you have a majority of merits, Yorish Gan Eden. You inherit Gan Eden. Maybe don't go there immediately, but you inherit it. I guess maybe that's the thing. Rubo Averis, if you're a majority of Averis, Yorish Gehenim, you inherit Gehenim. Okay?
Why don't you know what to do with this?
Because, what about the true, what about going to Gehenim for the Averis that you did? What about going to Shamayim for whatever mitzvahs you have left after you burn in hell for hundreds of years?
Your assumption is that it's permanent?
Sounds like it. But maybe not. Maybe it's later. It's a later result.
Automatically assume it's not permanent. At first you get your just desserts, and then you
Yeah, but everybody should end up in Olam Haba, even the Rishonim.
you say Kol Yisrael Yeshua.
Yeah, so how come it says that they're Yorish Gehenim? Unless it's immediate, what does it mean they're Yorish Gehenim?
I would say it's immediate. I mean, otherwise it contradicts Kol Yisrael Yeshua.
Basically, right. I didn't say it didn't contradict. Yeah, I agree. Anyway, Choya Mechtzayim. What about if you get up to Shemayim, you come to the pearly gates, and then, I know, it's a different religion, but
Where does that say that?
you come to, actually I don't even know if they have it in their religion. I think it's just like a television
What are
thing.
they called pearly gates?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know.
What does pearly mean?
What? It's Avonim Tovos and Margolios.
Pearls.
Yeah. That's actually probably taken from the Gemara. It says Rabbi Yochanan Lassi Lava will make the gates of Yerushalayim out of Avonim Tovos and Margolios. So maybe it's over there. But anyway, so they you come over here 50-50. So what happens? Rabbi Yisrael Chanina Omer no se'avon. Hashem is no se'avon who bears the sin. Rabbi Avo Omer no se'avon ksiv. It says the Kosh Baruch Hu bears the sin. Ma Kosh Baruch Hu said, what does the Kosh Baruch Hu do? Chaytev echem hichavas Kosh Baruch Hu chaps one of his averos, uscheisim makrios, and his merits get him into Gan Eden. And Rabbi Lezer says, L'cha Hashem ha'chesed. To you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is kindness. Ki ato atishalim ishkamasei, you pay each individual according to his deed. V'im leis at yoiv leimin didcha. If you can't give him, if you can't give him according to his deed, min didchahi. You give it to him as chesed from your own treasure trove of grace for human beings. Daited Rabbi Lezer. Daited Rabbi Lezer. And this is the opinion of Rabbi Lezer, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is swayed by Am Yisrael. Lezer Amar, Rav Chesed, Lezer says Rav Chesed means Mlamechu Mate Klapi Chesed is inclined to do towards Chesed. Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yitzchak, boy, he asked the question, what about this pasuk? Staka Tatzer Tam. Staka will preserve the innocent one. Tam Derech, and the one who's innocent in his pathways. V'risha tisalev chatos, and evil will distort averos. Chatoim tirdofra, the sinners will be pursued by evil. The tzaddikim b'shalim toiv, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will pay back the tzaddikim on the other end with good. Ragli chasidim v'yishmor, the legs of this chasidim he will preserve. Rishayim chos shechidmu, the Rishayim will sleep in the darkness. Im leitzim huyolit. If people scoff us, Hashem will scoff at them. Ulanavim, it's a modest one, to yitain chen, and the meek shall inherit the earth. So, Kaveh Chacham Yanchil Chol, they're going to get the honor of the Chachamim. Uksilim Merim Karon, and the Ksilim, the fools, they will cause just embarrassment. So furthermore, after all this, that v'saygin saiga v'tarin tria. Those who are good get more good. Those who are bad, in other words, the place literally means a place which is fenced gets more fenced. V'tarin tria, those places which are broken, they get more broken. And so too here that vikini. Here too is by mitzvahs a person who's on the right path, he continues to go on the right path. A person on the negative path, he goes to go on the negative path, spiritually speaking. Rabbi Yerushalmi Rabbi Yitzchak said, where's the manifestation of this? This Gemara is not in the Bavli, but a variation on this theme is in the Bavli. It says, Shomer esa atzamin avera. The person safeguards himself from avera par mishoina, ushniya v'shlishis. He preserves himself the first and second and third time. Mikan ve'el from there on in, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mishamro. Hashem helps him out and saves him from averas after he's reached that madrega. So after going through 3 times, so then HaKadosh Baruch Hu helps him out. Right. Mataimo, what's the pasuk? Henko Elo, all these things, Yifal Kel, Hashem will work, Pamim Shaloshin Gavar, 3 times with an individual. Now the thing is like this, there's the other famous Gemara, which is not brought down here. This tells us why you establish patterns, how you establish patterns, by good. And this is the subject of all those psukim before that they're tzaddikim, they're on the derech and they're go all sorts of great places. But in the Yerushalmi we have the famous Gemara, which is Amar Avuna Avar V'Shana Nasis Lo Keheter, right? That's the flip side of this. So the about Yerushalmi doesn't bring it down. That's the person who's fenced gets fenced more, but the person who's unfenced continues to get more and more ruined. That's Avar V'Shana Nasis Lo Keheter. Now it's interesting. In order to get a chazak of doing mitzvahs, you have to have it in 3 times. In order to have a chazak of doing averas, 2 times. Avar V'Shana, once you did it twice. Okay, because it's easier to establish a pattern of committing averas than a pattern of doing mitzvahs. That's the truth.
Somewhere I recall in the Gemara it's only 1 time. You want to set the pattern.
At least 2. Avar V'Shana Nasis Lo Keheter. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Zira, Rabbi Zira said, "Uvad lo yesuvle." It's only if you don't go back to the sin after you quit cold turkey, but then if you go back, it spoils everything, right? The v'chudam shul shlom meheri nasek. It said lo minasek engsi. It doesn't say that the 3-stranded string will never sever. El lo meheri nasek, it won't be quickly. In our marta, in atruch daloi, if you work at it hard, mafsiku. In other words, you think that once you have all these safeguards, it's not going to break. No, if somebody works hard, it'll break. Right? The Rabbi Chuna, B'Shem Rabbi Avo said, "Hakadosh Baruch Hu ein lefanav shircha." Hakadosh Baruch Hu doesn't forget anything. Mipnei Yisrael, but because of Am Yisrael, Nasher Shoichon V'Oiver Al Pesha, who bears the sin and goes over the criminality. No seiksiv. No say is written, I'm not sure if it's with a vav or without a vav, but the idea is, Nasher in Aramaic is the same verb as what? To forget. Right? Inshe means to forget. It also means people. But it means forget. So therefore it said, when a Koshbar saying, no say says, I'm willing to forget certain averos. Within very extreme limitations, but certain averos I'm willing to forget. Okay? No sixim. Chain David Amer, and so too it says, David says, no satsa avona amechod, you bore the sin of your nation, kisisa kol chatosim, by doing that you close away all their sins. So anyway, bottom line is that Kosh Baruch Hu helps us out because he has a special relationship with Am Yisrael. So it comes out. Okay, new parent. Ha'ish Mekadosh. A man marries a woman, which is Mekadosh Bo by himself on his own, B'shluchon by his agent. Ha'ish Mekadosh's woman is married, by herself, B'shluchon by her agent. Ha'ish Mekadosh's Bito, a man can marry his daughter, she narrow when she's still under 12 and a half. Bo himself, Ubishlucha, and with an agent. Gemara is going to argue about that. If somebody says to a woman, he's kachi b'tmorazu, get married to me with this date. He's kachi, not date the fruit, right? So, date goes on tree. So, imesh b'achas mehan shava pruta, if he shows us several of them, one of them is with the pruta, then Mekudesha, she's married. If not, Mekudesha, so they don't join together. If he said, however, marry me, he said to him, Bezu ubezu, connecting all the dates, right? Imesh Kukulam Shah Pruta Mekudesha, all of them together Shah Pruta, that's enough to make her Mekudesha. If, however, she ate each one as was given to her, and was never determined that it's worth a Pruta, and Mekudesha, she's not married. Doing it should one of them is worth a pruta. How do we know that the age of an individual is like the individual? Rabbi Lesser said, so-called Kala Das Yisrael Bein Arbaim of Am Yisrael shechter the Pesach in the afternoon, v'chig alidei kulan. Says Rabbi Lo Echru. Sorry. No, still not up to there. Third line in the Gemara. V'chig kulan shochtino so. Does everybody shech v'shachtu also? Rather it means one individual shecht. So I take cool for everybody else. And when we come from here, we see that Shul Shalom Samosa because that one guy acts on behalf of everybody else in the midst of Shechita's Pesach. Vaidam, what teaches us that this works? Each individual should take before Yitzias Mitzrayim. They're supposed to take for Korban Pesach a goat or a sheep for each house, right? Valo echot hu shul lokeach eidei kulam. Oh, you know, I skipped. What? Yeah, but I skipped something else. The Mashpriach throws in the fifth line of the Gemara, the last two lines of the Gemara. He says, Rabbi Yossi should be before Vaida Amar Da. He says, Rabbi Yossi, Shani Shadim Sholi Pislu Shchaver Shlomi Daito. That's no proof, the fact that one guy could sort of for everybody else, because you don't need das. We're looking for a case where shlichus requires das, and the parameters of shlichus are that shlichus shadim kamoso. But over here, that a person can check the his Pesach for his friend, that doesn't require das. And on the contrary, that our mission is talking about a case where there is, well, what's going on? So he says again, maybe it's a shani shalom shalom pesach shalom chaver shalom idaito. So that's where it's not shul shalom kumoso. You don't need his das in order to shech. So therefore, vaida mardo, what teaches us that you say shul shalom kumoso in terms of the activity going back to the other individual. So because it says v'ikulam each celebrate each individual should take a goat. Sell abayi is a goat for the house. Did everybody go to the marketplace all of a sudden and glut the goat market? Obviously not. A lot of them had their own goats or sheep. It must be that one individual would acquire for several individuals. I'm not sure again how we know that, but we assume one individual acquires several individuals, so therefore, how can you acquire on their behalf? So we assume that the emissary of individuals like that individual. Okay? So we read the last lines already. Let's go to Chaf Gimel on the base. Says more in Tamar Adam Mafrish Pisul Shel Rabero Shalom Idaito Leis Yochlu. If you're going to say that a person can set aside the Korban Pesach for his friend without his das, then there's no proof from your shluchus shalom kamosa, because doing it without his das, without his intent, without his consent, it's not a concept of shlichus. It's just obviously some general thing which HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave permission to Am Yisrael to shech for other people, to set aside their pesachim. So again, shech, we said everybody agrees you can shech without das. You don't need das for the person who's other members of the chabura. So that obviously is not shlichus. Where would shlichus apply where there's das, and Torah said you can delegate that das. So that might be in Seven Mahafroshas Pesach, we don't know. Right? So it says, Beishamayom. What? Excuse me? I didn't read it yet? Sorry. Dam Rabbi Zera said, B'Shem Rabbi Lazar, Olim Shoy Pislu Shalaver Shalom Midaito, Aveinam Rabbi Shalom Midaito. He could shech the Korban Pesach without his friend's consent, so that's not right Shluch Shalom Kamosa. But he can't separate his Korban without his consent, and therefore there, if we say one guy can separate for other individuals, it must be because of Shluch Shalom Kamosa. Beishamai say, now the other Mashbiach turns the Gersolos around, and I think he's right, although I didn't actually look into it, but nobody else doesn't, but I think he's on the right path. It says, Beishamai says, Ein Shliach Nasa Eid, but the Korban Gilin Ephraim turns it to, Beishamai says, Shliach Nasa Eid, Olim Mishumei. And if somebody brings a get or something, you become a witness on it as well. But still, according to Gilin further, according to the Tritorah Yisrael, so then, Vesilmrim, the Shliach is Olam Mishumeid. The agent can become a witness. So again, the Mashbiach throws in the word Ein in this line. Ein Shliach Olam Mishumeid. So it comes out the exact opposite of what it says here. Beishamai says Shliach to become Eidim. Beisil says Shlichim to not become Eidim. Hey Chavita, what's the case? Shileach, if the Baal Bas sent, it should be Shlosha, not Shnaim. Sent 3. The Gor Sameach Mashbeach, that's a change. The Baal Bas sent to 3 people. Adai to Beishamai, according to Beishamai, Shliach, that means one is the emissary. V'shnei it's 2 witnesses, because you can't, once they're deputized as Shluchim, you can't downgrade them to be witnesses, so to speak. So therefore, it must be, if you send 3 that you intended l'chatchila, that 2 of them should be witnesses. So it says the Gemara, Daitin Beisil, Korn Beisil, Shlosh Shluchim, we say all 3 are emissaries, right? U'shlosh Meinim, all 3 witnesses. Why? Because the Beisil holds that, and therefore they're no good. I'm sorry. They can't all 3 be witnesses because there are 3 shluchim. So they can't be witnesses, right? Because he holds ain't shliach nasei, because again, according to the way that Mashbiach turned around, ain't shliach nasei, so therefore shluchim cannot become witnesses, right? Says the Marsh, no, shlosha shluchim, shlosha eidim, it's almost astonishment. You think these 3 witnesses could be, these 3 shluchim become 3 eidim? They cannot. Amar Revum Rechia said, when do I say, fascinating concept, I don't remember this in the Bavli. When will we say Ein Shliach Nasa'ed? When we say Shliach Nasa'ed? When can we say Shliach Nasa'ed? B'shekitcha b'shtar, if you married her with a document. When Kitcha b'ketza, you married her with money, then Ein Shliach Nasa'ed, because the money gets lost, who's going to be liable for the loss of the money? Shliach, right? So if a Shliach is no Gebadover, that's why he can't be an aid. Because he was responsible for money in the interim. Okay? Says the Gemara, not true. Rabbi Yisrael said, "Mikayim shemina Torah, sheminosa Torah, afilu kitcha b'kesef." So the Torah gave the shliach ne'emanos, even if it was mekadosh with kesef, nevertheless, it's okay. Eino kenogei beidusa. Special halacha of shlichus. Rabbi said, "Asuf the kum Rav." A case came from Rav, despite what Basil seems to have said above, that we don't say shliach naseid. Also shliach, he made a witness into he made agent into a shliach, an agent into a witness. Chad vaynash afki gravai, a certain individual who left barrels of wine, gabi kafei v'lecharei, in his friend's backyard. The kafei and the friend denied it. Rabbi Pinchas said, "Asu the kum Rabbi Yirmiyah." This case came from Rabbi Yirmiyah. V'aser shliach, he took the shliach who delivered the wine and made him an aid. So we see, at least in certain cases, we're willing to abide by Beishamai's psak that shliach is nasa aid. Yeah, that's enough to be mechai b'shvur. All right, Pinchas, the similar case. Rabbi Pinchas said, "Asu the kum." What? We're not up there yet. Pinchas said, "Asa uvda kun Rabbi Yirmiyah was a shliach eid v'chivu shvoi de'er kosid." Next words. You're right. I should have read it. And he requires shvua by the bearer of the wine. Ismas isu amru shluch. So that's about shliach nasa eid. Question about shluch shana kamoso. Ismas nisa. They're Mishnah Tanaic statements indicate that your shliach is like yourself. Shliach shana kamoso. Ismas isu amra. Their statements which indicate ain't shluch shana kamoso. That not. Now we probably go to psukim, so I'm not sure if we really meant mishnayos. It says im hamer yimirenu. If you tamura says a double language. Hamer yimirenu. You are fair yifren. It says by hatar sedorim that you are fair yifrenu. Havina Savi Mema, we thought that Shluch Shadam Shukr Kamoso. We said we would say from these psukim that Shluch Shadam Kamoso. Error, but there's a flaw. Shemiyat HaKosa, the pasuk seems to diminish the capacity of saying Shluch Shadam Kamoso. Because it says, by Smicha and Karbonos, the Samach Yodo, the low Yad Bano, it says, you should put your hand, not the hand of your kids, Lo yad avdo just says yodo, right? So it means not your kids. Lo yad avdo, nor your slaves. Lo yad shlucho, nor the hands of your messengers. Having Torah, maybe they want to say again, Shalushon most of the entire Torah. El Shmira Kos, however, the pasuk diminishes the capacity. Another one. It says, V'rotza Adonav es no b'martzeah. It says the master should piece the ear of his slave with the awl. Adonov lo bno. We learn is the master and not his kid. Adonov, the master of lo shlucho and not his shliach. So I've been serving so I've been serving mema shlucho shlon komoso shemida kasu. We say that we thought shlucho shlon komoso, but here we see the pasuk precluded it. Nevertheless, istanoitani, there are those who learn v'rotza the rabos es shliach. The shliach also has the right to do the piercing of the ear. We learn out from the extra vav from virotza. So that makes sense with like Rabbi Kiva without just extra vavs. But Rabbi Shmuel Shulchan piercing the ear. So it says to Gemara Adonov, because it says his master. Anything which comes because of the master, that's enough to say Shulchan Kamoso, because the master delegated or deputized this individual to have authority to do this act. Okay, Tommy, let's go a couple of lines further. Tommy, let's over there. So from this we say that Shulchan Kamoso is generally true, except for the rare cases where the Torah actually precluded it. Tommy, let's over there. Nara Marasa, a woman who's betrothed, she and her father can accept her get. Right? The Gemara, the Mishnah there in Kikin says that wherever you don't bear, it's not the Gemara, but I'm quoting from the Mishnah there. But it says it's either or. You can't have both. So her father accepts her get and not her, as long as she's a Nara. Machlokas also by Kiddushin, who gets married off. Rabbi Yochanan said, everybody agrees, Kiddushin shavia makacha v'lohi. Kiddushin until 12 and a half, who's got the right? Father's got the right. The kid has no right. Says the Shlokish concedes also by Nisuin. Nisuin is a Spindel principle issue, because what happens at Nisuin, the father loses money, Maisiyah Daim, handiwork. So therefore, sure, Shalom call me manna, she doesn't have the right to undergo Nisuin, to cause her father to lose her produce. I'll die to Rabbi Yochanan, ein lo das eitzel aviyov, ein also shliach. According to Rabbi Yochanan also, since she has no das when her father's around, she's not a master over her own destiny, she can't make a shliach. I'll die to Rishim Lakish, according to Rishim Lakish, that she can accept Kiddushin, yesh das eitzel aviyov, also shliach, she has intent that she can make a shliach. Masisel pi Rabbi Yochanan, the Mishnah seems sorry Rabbi Yochanan says, yesh mekadish bo v'shlucho. It says a man can be Mekarish himself and with his emissary. So it seems that she can make an emissary. So there's more apostle of It'll say that our mission is talking about where she's an adult, but in Achnami, on the age of 12 she can't set up she cannot set up her own agency. But at the end we learn Katana Shomra Iskabali Giti, those in our mission talking about Katana, because it says later on in the Mishnah, a Katana who said, except for me if I get Eino get tapach of down avad shiagia get liyoda. So we see you're talking about kitanas. So possibly yisoima. So he says, okay, let us talk about kitanas. The woman who's making a shliach is a yisoima. So since she's a yisoima, she's allowed to make her own shliach. Why is that? Because she's never not under the jurisdiction of her father, since she has no father anymore. It doesn't have to be literally an orphan. It could be what we call yisoima b'chayu aviyah. Right, Yisoima who was already married off once by her father, and then divorced, and then she loses status. All right, it's the middle of a sugya, but we'll have to stop here for this evening and pick up with it again on Monday. Monday will be Lincolnwood, yeah. Yes. Did you end up?